getting closer. Look, we got our green screen. We have our light up here, and we still have a bit of shimmering. And if we come in there's a little bit of shimmering, and I think it's mainly caused by the chair at the back of me. The chair is too high, so I need to get another chair that is at least below my shoulder level. So here we are. But without further ado, let's get on with our reading for today. We have a new writer this month. This writer he's quite familiar actually to Creative Life Spiritual Center because he's been a guest at what we used to broadcast usually start off every month, and every 2 months it was called a soul session, and we would interview different people, normally about things like race, gender, military, all that kind of stuff. Military in the sense of honoring the people who actually served in the military. Here we are. This is what Raymond says. He actually called the readings for this month "Be Uniquely You," and he quoted from Amy Lee. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. It's Mercree, Mercury, and I did not look her up. I usually do these things. Stand out, shine, be colorful. The world needs your prismatic soul. The world needs your prismatic soul. And it's kind of coincidental, but the theme for Faith Together in the Woodlands and the Spring area this year for the annual get-together where all the different religious groups meet for Thanksgiving is actually called Prisms of Color. So there we are. Raymond Anderson, PhD, he's he's a very interesting character. You should look him up. Raymond, Raymont, and then Anderson, Anderson. And this is what it says. June's inspiration is sparked by everything in Dr. Ray's eclectic background and his commitment to what he calls Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0. His experiences of trauma once caused so much pain that he couldn't perceive the vibrantly bold technicolor richness of life. This month, he invites us to ask not just what it means to live in color, but also how do we live in living color. The question to live a colorful life is possibly more urgent now than ever before. I don't know what this means, but we're going to find out during the month. Okay, he's a true Imagineer who brings years of experience and wisdom as a professional educator, a visual artist, and a performer, an ASL interpreter, American Sign Language interpreter, author, and lover of comics and film to all areas of his life and his ministry, which for him extends beyond the church or the center. He's an ordained Centers for Spiritual Living minister, like me, and serves as the founding minister and spiritual director of the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts. And it's a CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living, that is, teaching center. He's a frequently sought after guest minister, speaker, and workshop facilitator. He briefly served as the co-lead and the interfaith lead for his local Moms Demand Action chapter. As a survivor of gun violence, he also participated in the Everytown Survivor Fellowship program. And you can connect with him at RaymontAnderson.com. That's pretty simple, RaymontAnderson.com. And here we go for the reading, which he is called I See Your True Colors. First quoted from Nitya Prakash, who says, give a kid a box of crayons and watch them color the world happy. Tell them where to fill which color and watch them dislike everything's colorful. Yep. Human beings don't like being told what to do. They like to figure it out. Well, most human beings don't like being told what to do. They like to figure it out, especially things like that. Ernest Holmes in the Science of Mind textbook, pretty early on in the book, page 37, paragraph 1, says, And so we suffer, not because suffering is imposed upon us, but because we're ignorant of our true nature as divine beings, that is. And that was my add-on there. And this is Raymond. He says, I think Ernest Holmes would agree that there are times when people impose suffering, abuse, and trauma on others. Simply avoiding being a cause of anyone's suffering is not enough. We need to help them heal it. He says, for years, as a result of the many traumas I experienced from as far back as I can remember, I hated myself and nearly everything in my life. I suffered daily from intrusive thoughts of suicidal ideations until one day it dawned on me that I had become the tormentor and the bringer of suffering. I'd adopted the belief that if I did it to myself first, others couldn't do it to me. He says, that shifted one day when I was hired to interpret an event where a vocalist would be singing, quote, true colors, unquote. He's talking about being an American Sign Language interpreter. He says, while on stage interpreting the line, quote, so don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like a rainbow, unquote. He says, I had a life-changing breakthrough. It started when I saw various people, including the deaf audience members, brought to tears. I felt myself holding back tears. Was I about to cry? It dawned on me at that moment I was using the tools of my abusers and bullies against myself. I've been conditioned to stifle my own true colors, to refuse them the freedom to be seen by anyone, especially myself. As individualizations of spirit, we are beautiful, colorful beings meant to thrive. Today, we recognize this truth as we inspire others to do so as well. I don't think I've got a lot more to add to this. You know, really the main fact is that we often don't respect ourselves enough, and we don't give ourselves enough credit for what we've done. Yeah, some people go way to the other extreme. You know, they brag and they're the only people in the world and the rest of it. But even they, deep down inside, they're only doing that because something's lacking. You know, if you are really content with yourself, you don't need to act out in lots of different ways. You don't need to act out in the way that Raymond Anderson was saying here. And you also don't need to act out in the way of bragging about everything and being the most important person in the world. When you've done your spiritual work and you're at home with yourself, you don't need to do these things. And you really can concentrate on other people as well. So that's why it's so important, although Raymond doesn't mention it per se here, to do our spiritual work. Because when we're at home with ourselves, it's easy for us to accept people. It's easy for us to accept people's mistakes. It's easy for us to accept when people are bragging about themselves. It's just so much easier. So that is my message for today, for the beginning of June. Hey, it's a new month. Come 3 weeks' time, it will be the beginning of summer. Apparently, meteorological summer has already happened, but the normal summer cycle starts somewhere around the 20th, 21st, 22nd of June every year, as March begins spring on 2021 or 22. It varies by the year. That is my message for today. Let me see, the affirmation which I posted is 2 affirmations, really. I acknowledge and celebrate my true colors. I accept who I am and all my gifts. As I share them with the world, they heal and inspire others to do the same until the collective consciousness is colorfully whole. And that is another way of saying that everything that we think impacts every single human being, past and present and future, because we're all one with the group human subconscious, as we're all one with a divine consciousness. So everything that we think goes in there. And depending on how strong it is, it has a greater or lesser impact. But it all goes in there. Everything everybody thinks, feels, and believes goes into that group human subconscious. The good news is it means we can change the world for the better. So let me know what you think about the green screen. It seems to be shimmering in the background there. If that's good, bad, or indifferent. Also, let me know if you think that's too distracting. As I said, I'll change the chair so that you don't get that. Oh, there it goes. How's that? But yeah, by and large, I think it's not too bad. By the way, the scene behind me is more or less between the two buildings at our spiritual center. One of the trees is missing. It had to be taken down, but that is the nice, colorful scene between the two buildings at our spiritual center. You know, on the one side is our sanctuary, on the other side is our building with offices and kids' rooms and so on and so forth. So that's all I've got to offer you for today. I really don't have anything else. I will be back tomorrow, hopefully at 5. I mediate Monday afternoons. It may be later than 5. Who knows? I'll be back as soon as I can. And Reverend Lisa, my colleague, will be back tomorrow at about 9:15. And until next time, please take care of yourselves and just know that life can be good. There is a power greater than we are that we can use. And I claim the use of it now to bring everyone peace, love, and joy. So it is.